Hi. I will try this in English. My German is terrible, though slowly getting there. I'm here mainly to defend, or to try to offer you a defense of digital work. I would like to start you out with a little story. About 5 years ago, somebody broke up with me over a cell phone. That cell phone no longer exists. You might think that that's stupid, but you cannot imagine how pleasurable it is to hear the crash of a $300 cell phone against the floor. Stupid, mainly because we, I think, tend to understand that the cell phone was not responsible for the breakup. It was just the space in which this thing was done. I tend to think, and I have discovered, that things like very bad news on cell phones or very good news on the internet tend to actually move us when we receive them on screen, much in the way that a hug from a friend or a call from a friend tends to move us. And I continue to hear, naysayers left and right, thinking and sort of expressing all sorts of misgivings about the internet, what the internet can do for us, what the internet has brought us, how it has desensitized us, how it has set distances. But in a sense, I think that what I want to offer you, or what I want to plead with you for, is the development of a public space along the lines of public media, or along the lines of digital media, bringing digital media to the space of the political, or actually letting digital media play its part fully in the space with the political. That goes to say that much in the way that we can have political discussions and open the space of the social sphere, the political sphere, when we meet each other in this kind of spaces, we actually can do it for many reasons more effectively when we do it online. This is a reason, among others, which is it never rains in Facebook. And the fact that it never rains in Facebook means that we have a lot of possibilities and we have a lot of comforts as to how we can engage each other. My area of work is at the crossroad of ethics, politics, and jurisprudence. And there is something that happens when you deal with politics over the internet that does not happen in this kind of spaces in which we love to meet each other. I will tell you, I come from Argentina. My mother language is not English, and this accent, I pick it up in a short 17-year stay in the US. So I bring it to you, and I had to do a certain bunch of things to make my way into Berlin. But one of the things that happens on Facebook is that people can actually piss me off, can outrage me over great distances. I can open my Facebook account, I can actually open Twitter and be completely outraged, have this sense of complete empathy for somebody who is extremely far away. And doesn't matter how much you will try to sit here and actually convince me rationally that I should join these guys. Maybe get myself an Occupy poster. They actually started out 15 blocks from where my university was in New York. There is no rational argument that will actually get me, sorry guys, to actually join them. Nonetheless, sufficient outrage will actually get me out to the streets. And the fact is that when we don't have the chance to meet each other in public space, we do have the chance of influencing each other on virtual space. Now, let me tell you something that people like to say about smoking. There is a line that I particularly like that says that having a restaurant with a smoking section and having a restaurant without a smoking section is like having a swimming pool with urination area and non-urination area. Well, this actually should give you a very strong sense of what are our stakes here for questions of climate across the world. But what should also give you the sense is that insofar as we actually have the possibility of fostering a political sphere on the internet, in which we actually can permit the transit of information in a way that these other fluid elements, like water, like air moves, then we actually have a very strong contender for the production of a political system that overcomes the space of the juridical, and it overcomes the space of the particular religious or tribal or national. That is to say, I can say things here. I can offend gods here. I can offend the practices of certain religions for mutilation. I can offend the sensibilities, the political sensibilities of people in Turkey, or people in China, people in Fiji or Papua New Guinea, from this very city, from my very desk sitting in Mite. This is something that I simply cannot do other than by strong political force, by gathering much more people than the ones we have here and pushing from the bottom upwards. So my point is this. The expression usually goes, don't throw the baby with the water of the bathtub, but I think my preferred one would be really, don't kill the sausages with the pork. The social space in which political discussions are had is whatever we put into it. And to the extent that it is whatever we put into it, the goal is really to make this space a space of participation. I want to say one more thing before I actually stop, which is that I think that we should resist very strongly, the temptation that we consistently have to think about politics as salvation. Politics is not about salvation. There is no state of good democracy. Good democracy does not exist. There is absolutely no possibility of finding a model that will satisfy us politically. It will not happen. If anywhere from this very place, we should be completely aware that there will not be a model that satisfies us. To the left and to the right, people will kill for a nation, for religion, but they will also go on and they will actually kill for hamsters, they will kill for whales, they will kill for cows, they will kill for trees. If you find yourself in the position that you're ready to go out and kill somebody to preserve the life of a hamster, you should stop yourself in your tracks and wonder what is going on with your politics. The way in which I think that digital media is capable of stopping us is precisely by bringing us, on the one hand, this strong sense of care. Bear in mind that there is no political actor that is as effective and as committed as a mother. A mother for a child will not need reasons, will not need sympathy, will not need empathy, will actually act. And boy, do we know that, don't we? But at the same time, the love of a mother for a child can be extremely dangerous. It can actually produce, ultimately, the cessation of my own personal political will. I become part of that community of care and love and outrage. So what I'm suggesting is that we need very strong mechanisms to interrupt this care that becomes actually an important part of the political. And the best way to do that is to interrupt each other in the public space. But from this space, look around you, we're no more than 120 people here. We cannot interrupt people across the world. Well, digital media gives us this opportunity. And this goes to say, and this is sort of the warning shot, which we should be completely cautious about the idea that the kind of things that we're allowed to say, because of who we might offend, are regulated by a particular private company in a particular country under particular jurisdictions. If Californians are not particularly happy with seeing naked people online, if there is a morality of nakedness and a sexual morality, then I suggest that we should not be beholden to the legal principles and moral standards of Californians. This is almost a plea for the expropriation of things like Facebook or the expropriation of things like Twitter, but we well know that that's not going to happen. So the idea here, since we have several political actors standing here in the capital of Europe, as far as I'm concerned, is that as a matter of fact, there should be a serious push for the development of a public digital space. And that public digital space has to be one that has, and this is the most important thing, it has to have the texture of the intimacy of Facebook, in which I feel that the person talking to me from 50,000 miles away is my best friend and my stakes in the well-being of that person are high. But it also has to have the possibility for the reasonable and rational deliberation and interruption of my outrage. Somebody has to be able to tell me, Martin, you're freaking crazy. What are you doing? And somebody must be able to tell me, look, this is the house of my parents in Hebron, or this is the house of my grandparents in Hebron. You really don't care? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Geck. Don't kill pigs with sausages. Could you explain it again for us?
It was don't kill the sausage with the pig. That is to say that we don't need... This is the very point about the cell phone. I mean, much in the way that we don't want to trash a $300 cell phone because it actually commits to us or conveys to us a message we don't like. Much in the way that because people say things that we don't like in English or in Spanish or in Italian, we're not willing to go and ban the language. I think that we don't want to simply get rid of technology, get rid of Twitter, get rid of Facebook, because they actually have the possibility, have the potential of doing, as a matter of fact, great harm. Not just great harm, enormous political harm can come out of Facebook and Twitter. But that's not the full story. Now, there will never be a perfect Twitter. There will never be a perfect Facebook. These things will never be perfect. They will be perfectable. So this is basically the point.
Okay.